Hey, Quan, how many people are enrolled in college today?
One question, several answers. And they may surprise you.
I like surprises. Bring them on.
Short answer is, there are about 20 million college students in the United States. Only half, though, are recent U.S. high school graduates.
Half? So where did the other half come from? The rest of the world?
Nope. The other half of U.S. college students are age 25 and older.
So we have 20 million college students a year. That sounds like enough to keep the economy rolling.
I said 20 million college students, not 20 million college graduates.
Same thing, more or less.
Less.
How much less?
Half.
Half? Like half of people who attend college drop out of college?
The high school dropout rate is about 1 in 10. For four-year colleges, the dropout rate is over 5 in 10. In fact, college students don't usually drop out. They decide to finish later, but most never do.
So we don't necessarily need more college students, we just need more of them to graduate.
Correct. For college students, the potential rewards are high, but so is the failure rate.
Over 30 million Americans are college dropouts. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough motivation, rough situations at home. Lots of reasons they don't make it to the finish line.
They sacrifice so much money. If they could finish, they can double their lifetime earnings. An average high school graduate earns 1.7 million lifetime, while an average college graduate earns 3.4 million lifetime.
Tough to buy into that mythology, especially if you're a recent college graduate, deep in debt, and your college friends are unable to find a decent job.
It doesn't sound like mythology to me. The president says we need 5 million more college graduates per year.
The president isn't working for minimum wage with a $60,000 college debt.
Yeah, the president's not wrong.
Well, I'm not wrong either. This generation of college graduates cannot find work.
Well, it depends upon where they look and whether or not they got the right major and the right mindset.
Carnevale!
Who is Carnevale?
Professor Anthony J. Carnevale. He's an economist at Georgetown University. He knows a lot about supply and demand for people with particular types of education.
Get him on the phone.
Dr. Carnevale? Do we produce too many college graduates or not enough?
Well, the answer is both. What we don't produce enough of are college graduates who can get jobs and good jobs. We know that every year since, say, the middle 1980s, the demand for college talent in the labor market in jobs has gone up about 3% a year, and we know that the supply of college degrees with labor market value, with something you learn that you can sell to somebody, that's only gone up 1% a year. So 3% increase in demand per year, 1% increase in supply. The result is what people pay college graduates over high school graduates has gone from a 39% advantage in 1980 to an 84% advantage today. So if you got the right college degree, you're in business.
How do you figure that out?
One of the things that's very striking in the data that forced all of us economists to figure this out was that the value of college relative to high school doubled since the middle 1980s, but at the same time, we quadrupled the number of college graduates. So, and in economics, that's a big deal. When you quadruple the size of something, increase it by 4 times, the price is supposed to go down, not up. But we doubled the price even as we quadrupled the number of people who had the credential, which is pretty stunning.
And if not enough, what's the best way to get more?
Well, in the end, the best way to get more is to make college more relevant to what people go for. And we know that 80% of young people say they go to college so they can have a career. That's not really how our college system was built. It was built to sit on the lawn in the spring and talk about Plato with the professor. So there's a certain amount of college that's very practical and applied, and that's the part that has economic value, and that's the part where more and more people feel frustrated.
And if too many, we see lots of friends who are underemployed. Why is that? And what can be done about it?
In the end, it's what you take that determines whether you get a job or what you make. So when we see college graduates who are underemployed or don't make much money, make high school wages, and about 20% of college graduates are underemployed, essentially making high school wages in jobs that they're overqualified for. We find that a lot of them are just in occupations where maybe you need a college, but you're not going to get paid. And that is if you're in early childhood or K-12 education, if you're in the humanities, if you're in the arts, if you take psychology without going to graduate school in psychology, you're not going to make a college wage.
Are our college dropout rate numbers correct? And if they are, yikes. Well, what can be done about it?
So when you look through the whole system, the whole $500 billion college system in America, you find that about half the kids who go actually get out, get a degree of some kind. In some cases, it's very high. At the elite colleges, it's more than 90% graduate. At colleges below average, it's sometimes 20 and 30. There are colleges where only 5% of the kids get a degree. So it's a pretty appalling statistic. If we knew that half the kids who went to high school were dropping out and not making it, we'd have a national crisis on our hand. But for some reason, the public doesn't get that upset about college dropouts.
What are the benefits of a college degree?
In the end, there are both economic and non-economic benefits. Remember that we still believe, or I think most of us do, that one of the reasons you go to college is so you can live more fully in your time, whatever that means to you. It's an period of exploration in your life. But on the more, if you want to follow the money, college will give you higher earnings. On average, somebody with a college degree who gets a job will earn $1 million more than a high school graduate over a career. On the other hand, you have to be very careful with averages. So out there in the real world, there are basketball players who are 7 foot 6 inches tall, and I'm 5'7". So on average, between the two of us, we're about 6'7", but that's not a real accurate representation of my height. So the thing you have to remember is that all college degrees are not created equal in economic terms, that your field of study is very, very important. That's what will bring you the economic benefits. The other benefits are personal.
So, what factors should young adults consider when choosing a major?
What most people do is, we know because there's a substantial amount of research on this, is most people follow the crowd in the sense that they don't really think about what they're going to do with their college degree until they're a senior in college. That's the first time people are able to report the kind of job they want and the kind of earnings they hope to get from college. So what happens most of the time is that people pursue their interests, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not interested in what you study and you're not interested in what you do, because what you study will have a lot to do with what you do after breakfast for the next 45 years after you graduate from college, you're probably not going to be very good at that. In fact, the research says that's true. If you're not interested in your work, you're no good at it. So in the end, it's not unimportant, but at the same time, you need to pay attention to where your interests may lead you. If they're going to lead you to a situation where you can't get work or you can't support yourself or form a family or buy a car, then you should know that. And you should be mindful that this is an investment as well as a pursuit of personal interest and development.
Is the job market improving for recent college graduates?
Well, the answer is always compared to what? That is, it's a lot better to be a college graduate than to be a high school graduate. At the peak of the recession, we had 9% unemployment among recent college graduates, but we had 23% unemployment among people who are just high school graduates. So in general, you'll be better off. Whether you'll be well off is a tougher question. And it is true that as we look at this economic recovery, that the vast majority of the good jobs being produced are going to college graduates. So the top 30% of jobs that are being produced, which pay more than $80,000 a year on average, which have About 70% have health care benefits and some kind of retirement plan. Those are going to four-year college graduates or better. And there's a second tier of jobs being created where a lot of college graduates are being hired. Those jobs used to go to people with two-year degrees, and they're now going to four-year degrees. So there's a constant escalation in the skill requirements in jobs. But college workers are usually at the head of the line. When things are good and when things are bad, they will do relatively better than high school graduates.
Do you need some college experience to get a good job these days, or is a high school diploma enough?
If you're a high school graduate in America, if you're a boy, about 20% of the boys who graduate from high school in America can get jobs in construction, in manufacturing, in mining, oil, and a variety of other manufacturing and extractive occupations where they'll do okay. They can look forward to earning 55 or 60 grand a year in their mid-30s. For females with high school degrees, there's really nowhere to go. Women really have to go to college. And that's why more women go to college now than men do. It's a simple economic reality. A woman needs one more degree than a boy gets in order to make the same amount of money as a boy. And so women now exceed men at all levels of college completion. In terms of people with college degrees, the people who do best are the people who don't just get a degree but get work experience. So in the old days, back in the 70s, in the manufacturing economy, by the time you were 25 years old, get out of high school when you're 18, by the time you're 25, you were making the average wage for an American. Now, the age at which people make the average wage for Americans is 30. And the reason is that they need both more education after high school and they need some work experience. So college isn't the only thing. You also have to have work experience to get a good job. And of course, the catch-22 for young people with college degrees, and they all know this, is the people that they go to interview with say, well, you've got a good degree, but you don't have any experience, so I can't hire you. Well, how are you supposed to get experience if you can't get a job? So things like internships in college are very important.
Thanks for helping out, Dr. Carnevale.